Yo, YouTube, what is good? I just wanted to stop by here and give you guys the quick tech on what we're doing as a Frost Mage nowadays. So, as you know, there's been a lot of tuning recently, so I get a lot of questions on my stream. What build are we playing? Are we still playing the instant cast build? Are we still playing Frostbolt build? You know, do we play Spellslinger? Do we play Frostfire? What are we doing? So, real quick, the tech is, this is the build we're rocking here. So, this is kind of labeled as in the Discord channel. If you guys want to check out all the builds for Frost Mage that we have, you can check out my Discord channel. Aeghis should be in the description. But essentially, this build plays without a couple different things. So if we check out the instant cast build, you'll see that there's a couple talents here, like these 5 that we have here. So we have Flash Freeze. Every time Icicles deals damage, you get a chance to gain a Fingers of Frost. Also Icicles do a little bit more damage. Frostbolt Flurry have a 30% chance to generate 2 Icicles. Casting Ice Lance on frozen targets has a 100% chance to generate Icicles. We have Freezing Winds, which basically on your orb gives you a Fingers of Frost every 5 seconds in PvP. And then we have Glacial Assault here. Every time you Comet or Flurry, you can call down a little Glacial Assault that'll make people take 3% more increased damage from you in PvP. Not actually 6, nerfed in half. So when we look at the Frostbolt build, you'll see we're actually pretty much getting rid of all of those talents, but we are picking up quite a few things. We have Slick Ice, Fractured, Death's Chill, Frozen Touch, and Deep Shatter. So basically what you need to know about this is Slick Ice, whenever you cast Frostbolt, they are quicker and do more damage. Fractured Frost means when you have Icy Veins up, your Frostbolt's AoE and also deal 15% increased damage. Very insane. Then you have Death's Chill. Every time you damage an enemy with Frostbolt, it increases the damage up to 15%. So these are obviously really all going to affect Frostfire Bolt mainly, because Frostfire Bolt does replace Frostbolt. That's how that works. And then we have Frostbolt deals 25% damage, additional damage to frozen targets. And then this is going to make your Brain Freeze and your Frostbolt generate more often as well. So when it comes to playing this build, I want to preface, I think a lot of people don't fully understand when you call it the Frostbolt build. I think a lot of people think that you should only ever cast Frostbolts. Now, the way I view this build is it is sort of a, not really a hybrid kind of, but the talents that you're losing aren't really that much more damage. Like, you still have Chain Reaction, you still have Splitting, you have a lot of your Ice Lance damage still. So if you are under a lot of pressure in game, you can still simply resort to instant cast. Like, you can still simply play this build like the instant cast build. I think a lot of people get stuck in the mindset with this build that you have to be casting Frostbolts, and it's like, there's a reason we're playing severe temperatures over thermal conditioning. So thermal conditioning reduce the cast time of Frostfire Bolt, but when we pop Veins, we have so much haste due to Winter's Blessing and Slick Ice. It's going to reduce our Frostbolt cast more than enough than we'll ever need. So we're still running severe temperatures, which whenever you do start instant cast spamming, it's going to build up a giant Frostfire Bolt for you. So real quick, I want to kind of go over the rotation for the Frostbolt build. This will be the casted version. So this will be whenever you are able to sit outside of, danger, no interrupts available, this is going to be the most ideal way to do damage. After that, we're going to look at maybe you're under some pressure and you can only fit a couple Frostbolts here and there, and the rest wants to be instant. So first, let's do the instant cast build, or sorry, the casted one. Whenever you pop Veins, no one's around you and you can just straight turret people. All right, so we just executed our rotation there. Let's watch it back a little bit in about half speed so we can break this down. As always, if you guys have ever watched one of my damage guides, I always preach, go for that Ring of Fire at the start. Don't tunnel vision it too hard if you're getting stopped on it. Just kind of stop there, go into the rotation. But fishing for Ring of Fires is always going to increase your damage before you want to burst a target. I also throw out the Orb in the Blizzard as well. Keep them nice and snared. Keep them in that Ring of Fire. Keep them away from you. Proc Frostbites on them too. These are going to really help immobilize targets that you're trying to burst. And also add increased damage due to the Blizzard and the Orb. Then you'll see here, I spend my Flurry Charge. This is what we're going to do every time before we Veins. So Veins is going to give you a free Flurry due to your Water Jet from your pet. So you can see immediately after Veins, we're going right into the Comet Storm. And we send a Frostfire Bolt in. The reason that we're doing this, Flurry is going to make every spell on that target act as if it were frozen. So we're going to send that Frostfire Bolt in. Boom, it's going to crit. Then we're going to cast another one here. Now what you want to do after this is continue to cast Frostfire Bolts pretty much, but the idea is that you want to shatter every single one. So since we have a Frostbite there, that will crit that one. Then we have a Frostfire Bolt into a Flurry. So that is always going to work. If you are wondering, Frostfire Bolt into Flurry will shatter the Frostfire Bolt. And it will leave you with 2 remaining Flurry stacks here as well. So boom, we're going to cast 2 Frostfire Bolts into these Winter's Chills. Now, keep in mind, guys, on the dummies, the PvP dummies are bugged. This isn't the actual amount of damage you'd be doing. These would probably be critting for like over 1 million. The hardest I've crit is probably like 1.8 to like 2 mil. So yeah, this is a lot of damage, guys, I'm telling you. So you can see here, we're basically just doing that. We're doing Frostbolt, Flurry, Frostbolt, Frostbolt, and those 2 Frostbolts are gonna consume those Winter Chill stacks. Then we throw in an Ice Lance there because we do not have another Winter's Chill, or sorry, we don't have another Flurry. So now we're kind of just waiting until we get a proc here. So I go ahead and cast another one. Boom, we get one. Beautiful. So I send that in. Frostbolt's Pet Nova on this one because I didn't think I had a Flurry charge. So I was like, okay, I'm going to shatter that one with the Pet Nova instead. That also works. Boom, big crits there. Then we do Frostbolt Flurry yet again. Boom, big crit. 2 more Winter's Chill stacks. We'll cast 2 more. One there, one there. I'll go for another one here. Don't actually have a way to shatter this one. So I go for the Ring of Fire. So once I get that Flurry proc, boom, I cast another one. Frostbolt Flurry. Frostbolt, Frostbolt. Easy clap. We have another Flurry charge here. So we'll do the same thing here. Frostbolt, Flurry. And this time we'll fit in a Comet Storm since our Veins is ending. So because our Veins is ending, that means we're soon going to lose out on the Frigid Empowerment damage increase. And we want to get that in our Veins window here. So that's a big 15% damage increase. So we send in the Comet, and then these last 2 Winter's Chill stacks, we're going to just consume those as well. And then we'll throw in our Ice Lances. Our Veins is pretty much over at that point, and we call that kind of a day on the rotation there. So as you guys can see, a lot of the rotation simply comes down to spamming Frostbolt into some kind of way that is going to shatter it. That's going to just basically increase the crit chance. If you guys aren't aware of how shatter works, anytime you use a spell into a frozen target, it will have a lot higher % chance to crit. So simply put, Frostbolt, Flurry, Frostbolt, Frostbolt. That's the most amount of damage you're going to do. You don't want to just sit there and turret Frostbolts without shattering them. That's a huge damage decrease. You definitely want to make sure you're trying to shatter those. And you can do that through Pet Nova. You can do that with a Frostbite on the target. You can do that with Ice Nova if you're playing it. The best way, obviously, is Flurry. So Frostbolt, Flurry, Frostbolt, Frostbolt. And then if there's some downtime where you don't really have a Flurry proc, instead of spamming Frostbolt still, you can just go into Ice Lance mode, spend some of your procs there. And yeah, that's kind of the idea. Now I'm going to go over, let's say you're kind of being trained, you know, there's targets on you all the time. There's not really, you know, you're getting trained down by like a DK and a Feral Druid. You're not really going to be able to sit here and just cast like that. There's still a rotation that you can do that is a lot of damage. So you can see the total damage for this one is about 72 million. Again, that is bugged because Frostbolt doesn't hit as hard on dummies. You have to hit real players to get actual an actual representation of how much damage you'd be doing. But just for, you know, the sake of this, we'll just call it 72 mil. It's whatever. But anyways, let's go to the instant cast rotation. I'll show you guys a little bit about that. So okay, so when you're being trained, a lot of the times what you're gonna have to do is use a Shimmer to guarantee that you get a Frostbolt cast off, because it is important that you do get some frostbolts off. One example would be like, instead of doing frostbolt flurry, frostbolt with veins up, you would simply just use these winter's chills like normal, like the instant cast build, and you send in some lances. So yeah, like I said, I think a lot of people kind of overcomplicate some of this stuff. Like if you are being trained and you can't cast frostbolt as this build, it's perfectly fine. It's not ideal, right? Like ideally you would want to do that first rotation like we said, but this build still does dish out a lot of instant cast damage. So I'll go ahead and try to execute what I would view sort of as like a rotation you might do when you're being brutally trained. So let's get into that now. All right, so we have the rotation pulled up here. We're gonna watch it again here in about half speed so that we can kind of break this down for you guys. So what you just saw is me sort of not just standing in one spot turreting, but instead me using my mobility and kind of like pretending people are attacking me, and I'm using some globals on like some mobility slash defensive options. So you can see here again, we're starting off the rotation. Ideally, like I said, ideally you want to get these cast off. If you don't get them off, like if you don't get that ring of fire off, you get interrupted on it, just go right into the orb blizzard. It's no big deal. The way I always think about it is like you're getting a kick out of the way if they do kick it, but if they don't, then you know that's a lot of extra added damage on the go. So you can see here I immediately start with the flurry, the veins, the frostfire bolt with the comet storm as well. You can throw a pet nova on them just for an additional 10% damage as well due to sub-zero. You can see I'm constantly moving around as this one, because if you are kiting, or sorry, if you have melee on you, you can't exactly just stand in one spot. So for the purpose of this rotation, we're moving around. You can see I spend my 2 Ice Lance procs there. Again, now I go for like a Frostbolt Fake cast there. That's like my attempt at getting precog. If I don't get precog, I'll commit a Shimmer charge with this Frostbolt to try to get that off. Even if you are being trained, that is something you can do. Again, like try to start that cast, maybe juke it a little bit here like I tried. So just to watch it again, boom, try to go for a little fake cast there. Didn't quite get it, so I'll go for a Frostbolt Shimmer, flurry with that as well. And then now, since 2 more melees are still on me, and my Shimmer is kind of like my one cast that I'm allowed to do, essentially, I'll go right into more Ice Lance spamming. So 2 more lances there. I'll Nova, like that's kind of a Nova as like pretending that I'm having to use a defensive global to, you know, kite whatever melees are on me. Then I throw in my instant Frostfire proc there. I throw in a flurry. I throw in 2 more lances here. Again, I'm going to kind of pretend like melees are on me, so I'm going to commit a Shimmer here. In a second, as you can see, sometimes you can squeeze in, even if you can just squeeze in that one Frostbolt flurry, you know, like you get enough distance with that Frost Nova you put on them that you can Frostbolt flurry. That is so much extra added damage. Still a blast wave on the people on me as well. Now that they're kind of blast woven away, you go for a Frostbolt there. Now I have to go for a shifting power here due to me being out of flurry charges. I Shimmer, and that'll go ahead and guarantee that I get that cast off. Then I displace, assuming melees have chased me at that point. Then I drop my altar and I cast a Frostfire Bolt into a flurry, into a Frostfire Bolt lance. So that's like 2 Frostfire Bolt procs, or sorry, that's like trying to get 2 Frostfire Bolts off. That's like a little greedy, you know. Sometimes when you're being trained and you have that altar with Shimmer up, you can kind of get away with doing some stuff like that. And then I try to fish for like a ring of fire. You know, again, if you get interrupted on that, not a big deal. So altar back here, call in the flurry with the comet into a Frostfire Bolt. Again, use that Shimmer to guarantee the cast. Boom. And then you can just continuously throw more Ice Lances. You have your orb back, you drop that. That's going to generate you some nice Fingers of Frost procs. So I'm just going full instant cast mode here with lances. Still just kiting around the map. And that's about that's about the rotation. You can see the damage is about only 10 million less. So basically the point I'm trying to get across here is some people get stuck in that mindset where it's like, oh, I should just do that first rotation. I can only like frostbolt flurry, frostbolt, frostbolt. You can see even me only casting a couple frostbolts, like one per shimmer, and then filling in the rest with lance and like trying to make sure I get my ring of fire and stuff. It's still a lot of damage. Like it's only 10 million less. Obviously, if you can sit there and free cast, you're gonna do way more damage, but going instant cast mode in this build doesn't mean that you're doing no damage either. It's like pretty much the same damage as the instant cast build. You're just missing out on a couple like icicle passives. So definitely I recommend, just to kind of wrap this video up, I recommend playing this build in every single scenario as a Frost Mage. I think every single solo shuffle lobby, no matter what, every single I feel like this is just the strongest build because it gives you the ability to cast when you get the ability to cast. But your instant cast damage is not too bad either. I will say that this build is essentially like during Icy Veins, you do so much damage, man. Like during Icy Veins, you are literally God. Like it's insane how much damage and pressure you can put out during Veins. Outside of Veins, you are definitely not as strong, and the reason it feels that way is because of how strong you are during Veins. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just gonna keep playing the instant cast build because it's more well-rounded. Well, I get how you feel that way, but at the same time, during Veins as the instant cast build, you are way weaker. So you only feel stronger outside of Veins because of how much weaker you are during Veins. So it's sort of it's like with this build, you're weaker outside of Veins in comparison to how strong you are during Veins. So it's not really a trade-off, I think, that is like, I think it's kind of, I don't know the word here, maybe a placebo thing or whatever, but during Veins with this build, you are a god. During Veins with the instant cast build, you know, you do like okay damage, but definitely not as much as this one. And that's why outside of Veins with this build feels a little weaker, but you aren't actually any weaker. It just kind of feels that way. So real quick, I want to go over what you do sort of outside of Veins and what your priority on that should be. Okay, so you don't have Icy Veins, right? Let's just do like a quick little rotation here, just kind of get a bunch of stuff on cooldown, just so I have like an accurate representation of having no CDs basically. So let's just go ahead and click off Veins, get rid of the welly here as well, and we'll just call this the end of the rotation. So this, you know, you're at the end of the rotation, you have some procs here. Basically, you're just gonna go into, for one, you want to have a Blizzard down, try to farm back that orb, right? Due to Ice Collar. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty much just the same thing. You know, you try to get a ring, you flurry, you comet, you lance, you lance. You can drop your orb here, get your Blizzard down. Once you get to about a 5-stack severe, it's worth casting a Frostbolt into a flurry. And then you can kind of just go spend those charges with Ice Lance, get your Blizzard down again. That'll farm your orb back, spend your Lance procs as you get them. If people are on you, don't really worry about the Frostbolt, just do flurry, lance, lance. You know, get that ring of fire down again. Once you kind of spend all of your procs here, you can go for a shifting, try to get as many things on cooldown as you can. Orb is back, send that in. Get your Blizzard down, spend some more lances. You can see here we're at a 5-stack, so we'll go ahead and send that Frostfire Bolt Lance. Sorry, Frostfire Bolt Flurry. Sometimes you get Veins procs. During these Veins procs, if you can sit here and turret, it's very good because it just is a lot of damage. You know, you kind of get some of those temporary modifiers. Now that the Veins procs is over, just kind of use your instant damage. So Flurry, Comet Storm, double Ice Lance. Okay, Ring of Fire is back. I'll do that. I'm at a 5-stack severe, but I don't really have a flurry, but I'll still send it anyways. Maybe it generates me a brain freeze. Nope, not quite. So maybe I just cast a couple more. Alright, well I almost have it there, so I'll just do flurry, lance, lance. Get my Blizzard down real quick. Alright, another flurry, orb, more lances. I have an instant proc here. Boom, send that in. Now I'll just kind of hard cast one just because there's some downtime. Oh, Veins proc. Okay, I'll start using my Frostfire bolts a little bit more here. Send in some Ice Lances. Alright, flurry. Just send that in. Comet Storm, double Ice Nova, or sorry, double Ice Lance. You can see it's like it's a pretty basic like rotation. If you're cleaving, you're still doing a lot of damage. So this was pretty much kind of a terrible rotation, right? But we're still doing decent amount of damage. I can't stress enough how important Ring of Fire is. Ring of Fire is such an important ability during your downtime as a Frost Mage. It's what's going to carry your damage on the on the scoreboard so much. If I had a VOD or something and I could show you guys Ring of Fire damage, I mean, Ring of Fire is responsible for so much of your damage. It's crazy. That being said, if you do a rotation like the Frostbolt build and you do it pretty ideally, and you're just sitting here pretty much just spamming your Frostfire bolts, like the standing still rotation, then your Frostfire damage is going to be way higher. Like, this is going to be a pretty accurate representation of what your damage looks like if you are just able to sit here and free cast. It's pretty much going to be Frostfire heavy, the most Frostfire heavy. You see I'm not getting any flurries here, which is a bit unfortunate. So yeah, I mean, sometimes your rotation, if you are able to sit there and free cast, is going to look something like that. Like I said, it's super strong. I highly recommend everyone play the build. Please do not get stuck in the mindset of having to do the casted build, or sorry, the casted rotation every single time. I think that's the #1 complaint people have with the build that I've seen myself, is like, people are saying, I just can't cast. Like, you recommend to play this build in every lobby, but you know, I'm just getting instantly shut down and I can't do whatever. It's about all that kind of stuff. Just try to fit a couple in when you can. Like, if on your veins you can't cast, just cast one Frostbolt, blink away, and then flurry Lance. Like, you don't have to do the 2 more Frostbolts into the flurry. Just try to make sure you're shattering every single Frostfire bolt. If you can't cast one, maybe look to, you know, use your mobility to allow you to cast some. And then if you really can't, you know, going full instant cast is really not that much of a DPS loss. It's like, I mean, it is, but it's you know, better than doing no damage. And you will do more damage. Your Frostfires are going to truck as this build, so definitely make sure you're always shattering your instant ones as well. That's all I really have for the build, guys. We're playing fully haste verse, in case you guys are wondering. If you have any questions, definitely head on over to my stream. I'm live pretty much every single day except Sunday. You can check me out on twitch.tv/Aeghis. Playing every single spec, usually every single day. But anyways, I'm out for now. Hope this guide was very useful for you guys. Try to keep it nice and short for you, but still have jam-packed information. Anyways, I'm out. Have a good night. Peace.